Honestly, I wanted the challenge and I wanted to serve. Everything amazing always starts with curiosity, and that has been a constant in my life. We all know what's right, but we need courage to stand up for what's right. And I think that is living at your limit. That will lead you on the path to discover.
Namaste. Welcome back to the Inspired Series, a podcast hosted by BAPS Better Living. My name is Dwani, and today is such a special episode. As we commemorate the 250th birthday of America, our special guest is an embodiment of spirit, service, and leadership. Today's guest is Meera Amin, whose journey reflects the power of compassion, commitment, courage, and resilience. Meera has built a successful career in the corporate world as she is a project manager for the chief medical officer at Disney. And currently, she's pursuing and finishing her doctorate in whole health leadership. Meera, I'm so happy to have you. Thank you so much for joining us.
That's all my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be of service and share any insights I can and also learn from you through our conversation.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. So, Meera, serving in the military, what led you to that purpose and mission?
Honestly, I wanted the challenge and I wanted to serve. So, service was very important to me growing up, volunteering within the BAPS organization, various youth groups, various activities, and serving. It just feels so good. And it's not just serving, but it's a type of it's the motivation in which you do it by the selfless part of it, which really feels good because there is no expectation. In the same way, joining the Marine Corps, I wanted the challenge. At the same time, I wanted to serve the country in different and unique ways and really push myself to be able to progress in an area in which many women hadn't been given the opportunity, in the early history of women veteran history, but also moving forward in order to prove, the power of women and their contributions to any field that's available, including the military, which at the time that I had joined, there weren't as many women veterans, especially those in the service that serve in the Marine Corps.
That's amazing because I think that journey itself has been a very empowering one. So, you joined the military when you were right after high school, right before college. Like, tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I was 17, actually graduated high school, and then I was in my first semester of college, just shopping in the Stater Brothers Plaza, saw the recruiting office. It kind of drew me there. I'm like, hey, let me just go. Didn't have a cell phone at that time. And so I went in, talked with the recruiter. She was a woman recruiter, and yes, it was awesome. I was like, wow, she's super hardcore, but she's super vibrant, so much strength. And in high school, college, just growing up, especially in high school, I wasn't very sporty. I did PE, and that's about it. And so she inspired me in a different way where I'm like, wow, I mean, she's just so powerful. She stood for something really powerful, especially in terms of women empowerment, etc. And I had a good conversation with her, and I had determined, hey, this is something that I want to do. And kind of fast forward, funny story, but parents looking for me, where did I go, type of thing. And then, I got home and like, oh, sorry, I was gone for so long, but, this is something I want to do. So it started with a grocery trip and curiosity. Everything amazing always starts with curiosity, and that has been a constant in my life, drawing me to so many amazing experiences that I've had the opportunity to do and serve in unique ways as a result of that curiosity.
I love that. And that's such a funny, story because you're like, I'm just going to the grocery and I'm just going to grab a couple things. Oh, by the way, mom and dad, I'm going to the military, right? So that must have not been easy to tell your parents. So you joined the Marine, right? And you signed up. What was the training like? Like, what kind of things, what are some of the things that you had to do that was out of your comfort zone? Because you did mention that you wanted a challenge.
I went pretty quickly. So I actually dropped in my first semester of college, and there was an opening for a position that I had qualified for, crash fire rescue. But then Again, maybe I could share the story later, but it turned out to be a different profession, expeditionary airfield systems technician. So I'm going to go from boot camp, like you mentioned. So I trained for about a month. I went in really quickly. Couldn't meet the weight test because I was just so petite. And so I ate a lot of bananas, drank a lot of water, passed the weight test, made it to boot camp. That was in South Carolina, Paris Island, for 3 months. And then I had gone to combat training in North Carolina for about a month and a half. And then I had gone to Pensacola for my MOS, which is the occupation that I just mentioned on the Expeditionary Airfield Systems Technician. So basically building portable runways, portable airfields and runways out in the desert, taking emergency landing, doing, maintenance on the arrestor gear, which catches is a little trap that the hook on the plane catches onto. So I had the opportunity to do all those things. So that's in a condensed snapshot of what it looked like. And it definitely was a challenge. I can tell you, yes, I was the tiniest one there at boot camp when I had arrived. And that was, I think the first challenge, again, it's physical challenge, yes, but the mental challenge is even greater. And the spiritual opportunity was the greatest. So in my experience, I experienced, and everybody in the military, it's a breaking down of the mind to be able to show you what it's capable of, because the mind always wants to gravitate to fear, and kind of hold on these insecurities. And you find out what those insecurities are and that they're not something you can hold on to. And so that's where faith comes in and the spiritual journey part of it, and the opportunity to hang on, my faith in God, for example, and just knowing that, hey, I'm going to use every single opportunity to be able to rise above the body, rise above the mind. And so the first challenge, of course, was I'm vegetarian and vegan actually now, but one of the drill instructors said, yep, so you're just never going to make it. You can't be vegetarian and make it. There's just too much physical activity. And then fast forward 3 months later at graduation, she saw me and she's like, you did it. I'm like, yes, I absolutely was, my mind is there, my body is there, my soul is there. And when everything is aligned, the pathway is just going to open. Like there's just going to be a big spark and things are just going to happen. But if those three are not aligned, that just doesn't happen. And so, I was able to, get the challenge that I wanted. Again, way more than physical, but physical, mental, spiritual. So it just was such a wonderful opportunity to see what I was really capable of. And also, I didn't do it to inspire other women, but it just naturally happened. And, to be able to follow the disciplines and hold true to my values that I grew up with, not eating meat, onion, garlic, like those kind of disciplines that help the spiritual journey. Help that mental clarity and focus by living that kind of lifestyle and embodying it, like you say, that sets you up for success. You may not know how you're going to get there, but it will guaranteed set you up for success. And that was the biggest, challenge translated to learning.
That is a lot of gems and values packed into one story. And it almost sounds like the reason one of the biggest challenges was to fight the mind, right? Because you're right, like the values that we're raised with, they're different from some of your other colleagues and some of your other Marines that were with you. And to rise above that and to realize that, hey, this is my journey, and this is not just my physical, my mental journey, but my spiritual journey as well. And to align your spiritual self, your mental self, and your physical self into one, that takes a lot of commitment, and then also a lot of clarity, right? It gives you clarity because you realize that you're here for a purpose, you're here for a reason. And my reason right here, right now, is to serve in the Marines for, the next amount of years that you did. So it remind me again, you served in the Marines for 3 years, 4 years. What did you do after you were done?
4 years.
4 years. So what did you do after you were done?
So I finished up college. I was able to leverage units and, from the Marine learning, et cetera. Finished up college, did my degree in criminal justice. Learned all about the justice system, and because of the volunteer work that I had done with youth, I was really I wanted to give back to the youth because I grew up in that kind of community where I had just amazing leaders all around who embody so many, of the values and the spirit of selfless service. And so originally I wanted to go in the juvenile justice system, but while I was in school, I learned that, corrections is not absolutely really corrections, and it's, true nature. And so if I wanted to kind of give back in the way that I valued and I feel is impactful and sustainable, I would do something different. And so I found myself spending more time serving in the local community, at the local Mandir temple, or even out in the community in the greater LA area, et cetera, river cleanups, food drives, reading to children who were illiterate, just so many different things. And that's what drew me. And so although I had wanted to do that as my profession, I kind of took a little career turn, and I worked a year in loss prevention, trying to see if I can leverage it to a degree. And then afterward, I actually switched career paths, motivated and inspired by the volunteer service I was doing. And so I was doing bake sales, fundraisers to help raise funds and for the nonprofit and the Mandir in Chino Hills, the temple. So as I was doing it, I hadn't realized at the time, but I was gaining so many skill sets. So I'll again condense it, but I had developed a really good skill set for baking because everyone started asking me, when are you going to open your own bakery? When are you going to, and I'm like, I'm just fundraising, I'm just having fun and doing it for a great cause. And it just kept ringing in my mind. So actually fast forward, so I opened a bakery, which I had for about three and a half years. And then I had sold it to pursue my MBA, and then I worked a year in consulting, and then I came here to Disney, where I've been at for the past 13 or so years. So again, I've developed so much skill set from the service that I had the opportunity to do that I was not doing it for myself, but when I look back, I just look at it, I'm like, oh my God, that in a way it just benefited myself, but that wasn't my intention. And I think intention is the key to service. Like, what intention are we doing the service with? And my belief is God is the one who can see that intention, and He's the one that you just do it for, and you don't worry about everyone else. What is everyone going to think? What is that? What if I don't do that? Then you have false obligations and you have burnout, etc. But if you do it with the right intention, you stay balanced. You're able to balance the things, not strong, like not so heavy here and not so heavy here, but just a beautiful balance in the different areas of life, which is made up of so many beautiful things. I think that's where that creates harmony for everyone. It doesn't create a concentration in one area, because we can't, of course, be selfless in every aspect and here give, so it's the balance. But I feel like when you have the right intention, it creates a harmony in which everyone is able to thrive.
Your story is a little non-traditional, right? Because you went from high school to Marines to college to bake shop, opening up your own bake shop and doing a creative entrepreneurship, right? And then you got an MBA, and then you did consulting, and now you're at Disney. And even when you were at Disney, right, you started off with a different role, and then now you're currently the project manager for the chief medical officer. So, to an untrained eye, that's like a very non-linear, non-traditional path. But as you are telling your story, one thread that I kind of see is that this idea that you're serving with intention, right? So that's just one of the threads that I see, like a commonality. But looking back, what common thread have you seen throughout your life, through your professional journey?
I would definitely say it is courage and honor. It's about, and I guess we'll just go with the whole honor, courage, commitment. And that is, from the Marine Corps values that are held dear. And it's, viewing everything as it's an honor. One, it's an honor to be here. I'm not just saying it, but I really feel like it's an honor to be here, to be able to share and learn, share and learn. Just always a balance, give and take, share and learn, all those kinds of things. So I feel like, I literally feel like everything is honor. It's an honor to even just be in this body, be in this house, be in, just it's an honor to see. It's an honor to just be able to breathe, and that naturally brings a sense of gratitude, and that's just so fulfilling. I mean, I could stop right there. Just it's an honor to be just exist. It's an honor to exist, and what can I do to be, to really embody, hey, dear God, you gave me this beautiful gift. Now, how can I, be able to help develop it further to be able to even make your world, your universe even more beautiful? And just having the courage to be able to do that, having the courage to go to the Marine Corps, open a business, move to, to another state, come back here to Disney, stand up, having the courage to stand up for values in the organization, especially here at Disney. Like, how do we build trust? How do we build relationships? And that's how the work really gets done. And it's not about just getting the work done, and this is where intention comes back, but it's about how do we uphold values of what's right for the greater good. And that's common in the area of service. Like, let's just not help one organization or one population or this. It's like, how can we come together? How can we rally around a common purpose and bring such synergy where it's amazing for the greater good, not just one population? Lastly, I'll just fast forward in the interest of time, but commitment. So, being committed, like you found your meaning, you found your purpose, and just commit to it. If you made a commitment, commit to it. And our mind will try to deter us and take us off the path. But if it's something that's meaningful to our soul and fills our spiritual cup, our spiritual purpose, then that will trump everything. That will just, you'll be able to overcome the mind, and you'll be able to accomplish everything you want because you're driven by your purpose, your soul purpose. And so I think a combination of those, honor, courage, commitment, applied to service or career, family, whatever it is, that has been a really great blueprint for me to frame up some of my experiences.
Those are such key core principles and values that you mentioned, right? Of not just of family life and career, but of leadership, right? You think about courage, you think about honor, you think about commitment. Those are just guiding principles that have led you to where you are today. So earlier, before we started our conversation, you told me that you started to study Ayurveda, and now you're completing a doctorate in whole health leadership. And this is just such a beautiful transition, right? Because you talked about courage, honesty, you talked about courage, honor, and commitment. And this must have not been an easy decision. So tell me a little bit about what made you want to pursue this path while you're still working here at Disney full time.
In the past 7-ish years at Disney, I've been in this project management role in the space of health and wellness, and it's been an amazing journey. And in my last year, right before I transitioned to this role, that's when Ayurveda drew me. And my guru Mahan Swami Maharaj, who is the spiritual leader of the BAPS faith, he has such a passion for, again, nature, but also Ayurveda. And that's what really drew me, as well as yoga. So I also got my yoga certification. I teach yoga as well. So they're both sister sciences based in Vedic tradition. And I mean, the Vedas are just phenomenal. They have any question you have. I started with curiosity. Any question you have about life, you can get your answer there. And that's why it's been so beautiful. It's drawn me. And so I was kind of done with the commute. It just was overwhelming, a lot of toll on my body. And so I started taking the train in the last year. And I said, hey, let me use my train time, because again, my guru, he uses every single minute, and it's drawn me because that's what's allowed me such a rich life experience, is having the curiosity and using every minute. I want to use every minute to discover, because there's just so much to discover on this earth. It's just so beautiful. And so I'm like, okay, let me use my train time. So I'm like, let me look up Ayurveda courses. I'll just take a class. But I came across the program, and I'll just fast forward. But I did the program, Ayurveda practitioner. In the meantime, I found this role in health and wellness, project managing. So I started off, I transitioned. So then I felt, oh my gosh, everything's
Yeah.
aligning. I talked about the power of mind, body, soul aligning,
Yeah.
right? From my experience in the
Uh-huh.
military. And here, talk about mind, body, soul aligning. That's what Ayurveda is all about. And so I'm like, oh, this is my cup of tea. And so it was wonderful because I was able to, yeah, I'm in a project management scope, but I do a lot of things outside of scope. And I'm very lucky as, the chief medical officer, my boss, she really helps me, basically have that platform to be able to do it. And so through the business enterprise resource groups, the Bergs, I was able to do several workshops on living your best life. And the topic was Ayurveda. So how do we translate seemingly complex concepts into something that's actionable, can translate into our life in a very practical fashion. Everywhere from diet, lifestyle, sleep, those three pillars, mind, body, soul, alignment, etc. And, what to eat, when to eat, how to eat it, all those kinds of things, and how to take care of yourself from a mind, body, soul perspective. And so I was able to share that. I mean, that's probably the most fulfilling part of my current role, which is almost outside my scope, to be able to share that knowledge. And as you mentioned, I'm doing my doctorate in whole health leadership, which aligns very much. And it's about changing the conversation instead of what's the matter with you to what matters most to you. What is your meaning? What is your purpose in this life? And here I find myself coming full circle, starting with meaning and purpose, and here now in this role, combining my current role in corporate, and then leveraging. I just did a presentation last week to the larger group on whole health, and it was about, hey, how do we, purpose sounds so big, right? Like how am I going to find my purpose? But it starts with having intention. I'm intentionally going to eat this because this is what I want to be able to do with it. And it has to be for a higher purpose than that sacrifice that went into the food that's currently sitting in front of you. You have to transform it into doing something greater. And that's how we make this world a better and better place.
Mira, you've shared such great ideas. And, one thing I think about is this idea of spirituality, right? It shifts this focus from what do I want to who must I become to live the life that I desire. What are your thoughts about that?
To me, it's about using this life to have the opportunity to discover our true self as the beautiful love and life that we all are. That's within us. But unless we know our true identity, that's our true identity, and that's something we all have in common, then we're not able to live our best life. So really, to live your best life, you live out your values, like you mentioned. Live out your dharma. Your dharma are your set of values and standing up for them. So when you find yourself in situations, whether it's at home or work or out even with strangers in public or, community, etc., being able to live out your values gives you even more insight into your true self, because it gives you a sense of meaning and purpose, and draws you and draws others, and you come together for that common purpose. Like if you stand up for something that's right at work when no one else had the courage to, and somebody sees that and they're like, I saw that and I knew that was wrong too. Now you rally again and you build strength, and someone else comes and like, yeah, I agree with that. But nobody had the courage to say it, but you can be that one. And what happens? You're not doing it for yourself to just make it better for yourself, or that would be a private conversation. But when you have the courage to say it in the room and it's really the elephant, but nobody's saying it, that's when you feel like, oh, I discovered I'm living my best life and I'm helping others live their best life, because you just stood up for your values. And guess what? You're not the only one who shares that value of dharma, righteousness, truth, living out your truth and standing up for what's right. We all know what's right, but we need courage to stand up for what's right. And I think that is living out your dharma. That will lead you on the path to discover.
I just want to thank you so much for sharing these stories, because I've learned so much just talking to you. And I know our listeners and viewers have learned so much and gained so much insight just listening to your story and how you were inspired to pursue these paths that were driven by a purpose that was greater than yourself. I have a bonus special round. It's called the lightning round. Are you ready for that? So I'm just gonna answer like I'm just gonna ask one question and whatever comes to mind, just say it, okay?
Well, let's do it.
So what's a principle that you live by?
Truth.
Okay. What is one practice that grounds you every day?
Singing.
Oh, okay. What kind of singing do you like to do? I didn't know that. Just like in the shower, in the car,
Yes.
just you're just singing?
Oh, I feel that light inside. Again, the divine light and Bhagwan, God is living in there. And it's like, he just lighting me up and it's just coming out and it's just like whatever comes to my mind. And, like I grew up listening to so many beautiful kirtans, like songs, devotional songs, and whatever comes to my mind and it's coming up. And that's like the theme of the day. Like I wake up with that and that energy just carries on throughout the day. And so yeah, singing.
I love that. Okay.
Everywhere, anywhere, all the
Okay.
time.
Well, if I listen,
It could be in my head too.
I love that. Just like a tune that's going. I love, and you're just kind of singing
Yes.
to the beat of the tune. I love that. What's one word that describes leadership to you?
Good vibrations. That's two, but vibes.
Thank you so much for sharing your journey and your great insights. And, as we reflect on America's 250th birthday, your journey reminds us that all it takes is a guided principle to live your best life. For you, it was honor, courage, and commitment. And these three values are the foundation that our country was built on. So thank you so much for your service and your thoughts and the integrity and the energy you brought to this conversation. As we close today's episode, I invite you to think about one thing. Where in your life do you feel like you're being driven? Where in your life do you feel like you're being drawn to a bigger purpose? And what can I do today to help me get closer to that? To all our viewers and listeners, thank you for listening in. Namaste.